Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. Welcome to Veeam's Industry Insights Live. I'm Jeff Reichard. I'm on Veeam's product strategy team here, and I'm taking over from Jason Buffington and Dave Russell today. As we always ask, please take time in the chat to indicate where you're joining us from today. We love finding out, and we'll show the map with where we have participants here from. Our panelists and folks working on the production are actually from all over the world. We have representation already from all over the United States, from the UK, from Austria, and as far away as Armenia. So please do let us know where you're joining from. We have a great talk lined up for you today. I am joined by Mario Merkovich and Tracy Stansfield of ATOS. And Tracy, why don't you introduce yourself and let folks know about what you do for ATOS?
Great. Hi, everybody. My name's Tracy Stansfield. I work for ATOS. I'm one of the alliance managers. I've been working for ATOS for 8 years, although I do have over 25 years experience in IT and sales and marketing. My role more recently has been to actually build out our cyber and data protection alliance partners within ATOS to support our customers. So I've had the pleasure of working with Veeam now for the last 3 years, which is great. So we'll share with you today what we're doing with them and why we'd like you guys to listen. Thank you.
Great, Stacy. Great, Tracy. And Mario, please jump in.
Yeah, hi, I'm Mario. I'm with ATOS 12 years by now, and basically my background is in GRC, which is governance, risk, and compliance. Many years ago, in services, of course, IT consulting. So basically, I'm responsible for the cyber recovery offering for our business line. And yeah, let's see what we promised. If we can fulfill, if we can make it up to that and fulfill what we said today.
All right, sounds great. So we're gonna walk through today the way that ATOS with Veeam help organizations with their recovery from cyber incidents. But anyone who's watched these LinkedIn Live broadcasts in the past knows that here at Veeam, we love our industry research. And so today will not be an exception. We're going to lead off and sort of set the table with a little bit of current data on the state of the cyber attack world. Veeam does a lot of original research. This year, 4,200 organizations we surveyed, 85% had been hit by ransomware attacks that did some amount of damage inside the network. That's up from 76% last year. On average, almost half of organizations' data was either deleted or encrypted as part of a cyber attack. And one thing that's really changed in the recent landscape is that in addition to attacking production data, it is almost inevitable at this point that adversaries, threat actors will attack your backups as well. 93% of the time that was the case. And that ties in very directly to the kind of services that ATOS is offering that Tracy and Mario can tell us about today. So let's jump into what ATOS's approach is. Mario, you know the cybersecurity space very well. These kinds of numbers are not the way the world used to be. When you speak with organizations about getting cyber resilient, how do you structure the talk?
Well, thank you very much, Jeff. You not only took us through the cyber threats, yeah, and showing some really worrying figures. See, while in the past, business continuity, disaster recovery, and all that kind of things prepared us for business critical issues resulting from errors, resulting from logical errors. Currently, today, the increasing frequency of those issues of fraudulent attacks and fraudulent nature. You tell us that the 85% of that were attacked, which results in 15% that were not attacked. And basically, so we see how broad this topic became. So basically, we would talk our customers through that threat that is opposed to our businesses, and how we could potentially help with a slight modification on the infrastructure to set the first steps. So basically what we see here is the cybersecurity lifecycle. It's from the NIST framework, could also be from any other framework like SANS, whatever. And it shows us all the steps of a cybersecurity lifecycle, whereas most of those steps all of our businesses are going through. We are into protect, we identify, we protect, we respond. We have a lot of software applications that watch over us, and yet still businesses are attacked. So we got to think of the fifth step, the recovery step, which is when everything went down, how quick can you recover, and how sure can you recover? And that is basically what ATOS CyberRecovery is about. So all of the other steps stay in place. We are taking care specifically in this service about the recovery option.
And that makes a ton of sense. What interests me whenever I look at this kind of service, this kind of value that ATOS provides to the organizations that you work with, one of the stats that comes back to mind for me is the huge global shortage of IT security professionals. The latest estimate that I saw said we're down over 770,000 in the US alone and over 3 million worldwide. Now, Tracy, you work closely with organizations that are actually implementing this. I know you're deeply involved with the recovery offering. So let's dial in on the recovery piece of these steps and let us know a little bit more about what that looks like from ATOS's offering.
Okay, so what are the critical areas and the essential data that we need to be able to recover your business? So all the information that you're looking at on the screen here now, I'm not going to walk you through that because that will probably make a lot of sense as to why you're working with ATOS and Veeam to actually recover that essential data. But I guess from my perspective, I just wanted to share with you why I believe customers really want to work with ATOS and Veeam, and why we bring that actual value to the table. So you can see the end-to-end solution here with regards to how we'd actually approach a project and who we bring into the project. And I guess this is what you probably expect to see from an organization like ATOS. So we would have the well-scoped defined solution, we'd have the design, we'd have very experienced project managers to actually roll out that solution for our customers. And with it would then either go into the managed service of ATOS, which we would hand over, or it would actually be handed back seamlessly to the customer to actually manage that ongoing managed service. So, there are various roads that we can actually take with our customers. But I just wanted to rewind a moment, and this is my personal view and my colleagues' view as to why customers need to work with and enjoy working with ATOS and Veeam. It's the initial considerations that really do need to be defined and agreed across your organisation at the outset of considering a cyber resiliency strategy. And which are those critical workloads? And that is the most difficult decision, really. What would you really need to recover in the event of a cyber attack to maintain your business continuity? And this is where businesses struggle, because the faster you want to recover and the more data you want to recover, and I'm quite sure that every business manager in your organisation would want everything back immediately, the price tag of that solution really goes high. So this is where I would encourage you to work with ATOS. We can guide you through this process. We've had years and years of experience across all the industries, and we'll actually help you deliver what is the right cyber solution for you, not just now, but also the roadmap to ensure complete resiliency across your business over time. And the other thing that we would really encourage and would support at the end of the implementation of that solution is a cyber recovery test, which includes all the execs in your organization as well, so they actually know how are they going to respond, and they've had that experience before that unfortunate incident might happen to your organization. And then based on the success of that test, we can continue to shape that solution moving forwards. Back to you, Jeff. Thank you.
No, this is so good to hear, because I've been working with customers, as have you and Mario, for a couple of decades now. And the exact points that you're outlining, it is great for the technical teams and technical leadership to agree on tools. And of course, if you ask line of business units, everyone is going to want 100% of their data protected as well as possibly can be. What usually fails is the breakdown in the cost benefit analysis for how much of the data you actually do protect, what the timelines are for the things that have to come up most critically, et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, getting your compliance and legal teams involved. What data do I have to have available? What do I have to make sure doesn't go so that I don't get into regulatory trouble? And that interlink between the business and legal and compliance and technical teams is where so many organizations struggle. And I gather that's what ATOS can really help with. So I'm interested, Tracy, if you could dig into this just a little bit more. After you design and implement, and you've got a cyber recovery service that's built, this is something that you then basically, the customer is presented with a choice at this point. Do you want ATOS to keep running it, or they want to run it themselves? So they've got the option to go either way, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's
yeah,
a very,
right.
very flexible solution.
We'll always be there for the early life support, either which way the customer goes, to make sure they're comfortable moving forward with that service and solution.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's go on and look a little bit further. Mario, there's a reason, obviously, that ATOS is involved in these talks. Tracy's just outlined some of the business value that you bring. When we talk about the actual data sets, to dial this in a little bit more, has ATOS found that there are critical data sets that tend to get overlooked in this kind of planning, things that maybe fall between the cracks and aren't protected?
Thanks for bringing that up, Jeff. And by the way, thank you also, Tracy, for not taking my slide. So that's fine.
I tried.
Yeah. So the point here is basically, how would that work? We would identify your crown jewels. Everything that was already said is totally true. So we'll identify your crown jewels, but know that alongside your crown jewels, coming from our experience and coming from the leadership on infrastructure, you see a lot of other data that needs to be covered as well. Think of authentication. Think of network configuration. That one application you bought back, I don't know, a decade ago, still needs to do a ping in the I don't know where, and that network configuration needs to be considered. Authentication. All the infrastructure services that we can think of, even documentations like who are you going to call when nothing pops up? So and how, where do you get all of that back? So what you see here is all that fringe data that goes along and alongside your business processes and your valued, dear to your heart core application. So we got to take care of all of that, or basically sets of that, depending on what your business process needs. Just to show you, we've been through a lot of that, and a lot of customers actually, this is the experience of a lot of customers that we have implemented that we got back. So yes, critical data is not only the core, but the core application, but also the fringe data to make your business process work as soon as as you want to recover it, whenever you want to recover it.
The experience that you're highlighting matches what Veeam has seen as well. As an example, with our cloud native backup applications, first we started out protecting, of course, just the workloads themselves, just the critical data. But what we heard from customers is, please let us also back up, exactly to your point, things like our network configurations up in the cloud, so that we don't have to spend long cycles reinventing all that if we have a catastrophic outage. So that ATOS experience there also directly matches what Veeam has heard from our customers. So Mario, let's dig into this just a little bit more. And I've sort of opened the door for this by talking about Veeam. ATOS has obviously made the decision to work with Veeam on providing this cyber recovery solution. Can you talk a little bit more, maybe in a little bit more detail, about what it looks like to change the infrastructure to get an organization so that they are in a cyber resilient posture?
Basically, we're at the core, and what we wanted to share. So As you see here, there are multiple steps and thresholds that need to be taken to the super duper enterprise deep scan plus module whatsoever. The point is, start today. Get your copy immutable as soon as possible. Get your data immutable as soon as possible. We'll take away basically that identified data, take it away in something that basically amounts to a vault. You can isolate that data, you make it immutable, and then you initiate the replication differently, so from inside out, and basically that is what you would do, or what all of us do, with a USB drive potentially at home. But companies with multiple replication sites, with backup production, multiple DCs, it's not that easy. At home, it's easy, and we still don't do it. Start today. Don't wait. So that is my ask. And that is the first step and the first slight modification that you can do. And I mean, compare that to multiple DCs, multiple sites replicated, multiple backups from different vendors, heterogeneous infrastructure, let's say in a bag or so, So basically, think of all of that, and then think of the slight modification you could do to make a copy mutable and isolate it from the rest of all of that. So that's a fraction of a percent. And basically that will be those three phases, or actually the steps that you can jump into. Let's first do the entry protection and then go to the other ones. So we would know, basically, with that entry protection, we would know we have an immutable copy somewhere, tucked in the vault, no problem. We know where it is, and it's going to take us, I don't know, days to come back from that. And if you want to increase the speed of the recovery, then go for a scan. And basically, that is what is promised to us in the new version as well of Veeam, to have that scan. And so we're all looking forward to it. And yeah, so that's going to be great. And by the way, all that plus module, which you can apply to all those other modules, are about creating the runbooks to document exactly how we did put everything in the vault in order and in the right order to be able to come back when needed. That's the one thing. The other thing, as we did on business continuity, disaster recovery, you wanted to flip over or switch over a data center and have zero incidents, stuff like that. So that is the same thing that we need to do here: periodic recovery testing. And of course, how would we do a restore to not get reinfected? Because one of the topics in that specific report from Veeam is, how big is the reinfection rate? So that was also something that is really, really to be taken care of. So yeah, with all that, we are there to help you.
Yeah, this is I really, really like the focus, and it shows why the partnership between ATOS and Veeam is such a strong one, because we also tell organizations that we work with, for heaven's sake, you don't need to take a forklift and upgrade your entire infrastructure. Just get, as a starting point, at least one copy of your data that is protected, so that you're not part of the statistics of folks, 93% of backups are attacked. You want to make sure that when the threat actor goes after yours, it's going to be safe. Thank you for calling out the security enhancements and scanning enhancements for malware in version 12.1. For those of you in our audience listening today, that came out last week. It was a huge innovation. It's been very popular worldwide. And on the topic of worldwide, before we talk a little bit more about this, let's bring up the map and see where we have folks joining from so far today. We're about 20 minutes in. Let's take a look. Okay. Yep. Oh, look at this. We've got a good contingent out here today. Going globally, we've got folks joining from India, we've got in the United States, we've got Texas, we've got Georgia, we've got, I think that's Wisconsin. Is that Wisconsin? Or that's Ohio. We've got Ohio. And then if we look at the global map, let's see what we've got. Scroll back to that. Yep. Okay. Very nice. We've got France. We've got Austria. Is that the Netherlands? I'm embarrassed here. Help me out here.
Yeah,
The
yeah, it should be.
Netherlands. There you go. Spain, Portugal. We've got some from the Middle East, and oh, that's Armenia. If we scroll over, very good. South America, Brazil and Peru on board in South America. Very nice. So good worldwide join. This is very good. Now, quick question. Do we have any questions from the audience that we need to look at? I'm looking at the chat. Folks, have we had any questions? Okay, there we go. Let me take a quick look. Question, is this available? And this is for Tracy and for Mario. Question from LinkedIn, is this available as a complete service by default, or what are the requirements to have this defense mechanism? That seems maybe like an implementation, and it looks like we're at the right slide for that, for answering that. So Mario or Tracy, either one of you can field that one.
Yeah, if you don't mind, Tracy, I'll jump in here. So yeah, it is basically tailor-made. So everything's automated and everything's, there are processes and methodologies used, but basically there is not one vault like the other. That is, if I may summarize something that's common, then the only thing that's really common per use case, per customer, per business, is that it all differs. So thinking back, really, so you potentially have different crown jewels, you have different status. It could also be that you say, hey, I don't want my crown jewels identified by you, because we have done that already. We have a business impact analysis. We have done already a DR plan, a BCM plan. Why would you come in and do all of that again? No worries. Just get all those plans refreshed, get them up to date, and let's start from there. Another situation would be potentially that the customer wants to do it alone. They want to do it themselves or us. So it's really tailor-made, but no worries. Let's start really with entry protection and with entry, first step, and that's going to be the way you need it, and it's not going to take a long time to really. By the way, we also had customers who didn't want to bother with separating any crown jewels or anything. They just put everything in the vault.
Mm-hmm.
It's still hard because you need to know how to get back, but they want it like that, so they can have it like that. Of course, it's really specific to your business and situation.
And that specificity is a great reason why ATOS's breadth of experience is good for them, because you've seen a lot of different environments. You're not going to be hearing something for the first time when you talk to a customer organization. I'll do another question real quickly, but then I want to jump to some stories. I know one story in particular, Tracy, I'd like to hear from you talk about for ATOS. But we have another question. What are the requirements to ensure Veeam actually does protect data immutably in customized deployment solutions? I'll answer that real briefly. We can support immutable storage in your own data center or up in the cloud or in immutable storages with one of the many Veeam service providers out there. So there are a lot of solutions that you can use. There is not a requirement to not a requirement to be always connected to a Veeam site. In fact, there's no requirement. We have numerous federal customers in secure environments where they are in an environment that has no network internet connectivity whatsoever, and we fully support that. So as Mario said, there are a lot of different ways to work with it. That's actually not a bad segue to what I'd like to hear, Tracy, from you now about. If we jump ahead just a little bit, I know that you've worked with a global logistics company. Mario, Tracy, let's dive into that a little bit and talk about why organizations do work with ATOS and your experience with that particular customer.
Yeah, so this last slide highlights the ATOS credentials that you absolutely would expect from a global system integrator. But what I'd like to do is walk you through a high level, a real life response to a global cyber attack that one of our customers experienced across an environment which unfortunately was outside of the scope of the ATOS managed service earlier this year. They lost their ability to ship internationally from the UK, followed by a huge ransomware request. The customer quickly decided that they wanted ATOS to be their red team and support them from their partner ecosystem, and help them actually recover from that attack. And what is important to remember here is that this is in response to an attack. When you're trying to recover your data, and we needed to deal with that chaos, recover the customer's data, and actually build out a new cyber resiliency solution simultaneously. So within hours, ATOS had deployed what we call a red team to site, and that consisted of the full complement of skills, CTOs, technical solution architects, storage experts, project management capability, and we did that in collaboration with Veeam. They were with us hand in hand all the way. And basically that was how we actually achieved the new solution for the customer, to be able to help them remobilize, all the merchandise that was in transit or start shipping again from the UK. As you'd imagine, this project was governed very, very closely and scrutinised at every point across the design before being deployed. And we're now actually working much more closely with that customer to develop the cyber strategy across other parts of their business. And I guess one point for me, having a long experience in sales before I moved into partner management, you can have a very long-standing contract with a customer, but if you're not tested in adversity, it is actually still quite easy for a customer to make a decision to move away. So please give ATOS and Veeam that opportunity, because we do have that experience to bring to the table. You don't have to go on these journeys on your own. We can help you make those critical decisions with confidence. Thanks, Jeff.
Well, I think the fact that this global logistics company reached out to ATOS, even though the compromised infrastructure had not been part of your service to help with the recovery, is a real testament. Obviously, they have found that the pieces of their operations that ATOS was managing, you were doing a good job with, so that they reached out when they got hit in this area. And I'm also delighted, obviously, that Veeam was part of the solution when you helped them recover to keep their data protected, to avoid any recurrence of this in the long term. So that's very exciting to hear. Folks, we're running up against our time today. Thank you so much for joining us. And Mario, Tracy, really, really appreciate your time and your expertise today. I've learned a lot more about ATOS's cyber recovery offering than I knew before, so it's been beneficial for me, and I hope that's been the case for our listeners as well. As we've seen, we had folks on from all over the world. I will just wrap up here briefly and mention, on this Thursday's Tech Bites, you probably know Corinne Bissett from Veeam's product strategy team. Corinne is going to be giving us a recap of community and Veeam staff funded operations to help folks, to provide assistance for folks, and help giving back goodwill, helping organizations and individuals in need worldwide. So we're going to get a quick review of that. If you tune in to next week's Industry Insights, you will get a review from our usual hosts, Dave Russell and Jason Buffington, of this year's 2023 Gartner Magic Quadrant, basically a look back at the 2023 Gartner MQ in the enterprise backup space. And I will also mention, for those of you that have asked questions in the chats, do stay on after we wrap up broadcasting, and we'll answer questions in the chats as well. So thanks very much. And Tracy, Mario, I'll let you all sign off and say goodbye for yourselves.
Bye, everyone. Thank you very much for joining.
Thanks very much.
Thanks all.
In a world of increasing cyber threats and smarter cyber criminals, be radically resilient. Introducing Veeam Data Platform 23H2 Update, built on Zero Trust architecture and with AI-powered threat detection, proactive threat hunting, SIM systems and ServiceNow integration, and Yara content analysis. Plus, Veeam's new Threat Center helps identify risks to your environment in a simple, powerful security scorecard. The Veeam Data Platform includes backup and recovery, monitoring and analytics, plus recovery orchestration. Learn more at vee.am/what's new and achieve radical resilience.